Why penalty imposed on Jayalalitha is cancelled. Tughlaq 26/4/2017, page number 31, is our case study. The then learned High Court Judge Justice Mr. Chandru has given an explanation in Tughlaq magazine dated 26/4/2017 under the title Why Penalty Imposed on Jayalalitha is Cancelled. Necessary details have been given in our reply to this for clear understanding of this case. Why penalty imposed on Jayalalitha is cancelled? Our reply. Even the title is wrong. The title should be Why Karnataka government's case against Jayalalitha stood abated with her death by the Supreme Court. On the application filed by Karnataka government, the Supreme Court told that it is not necessary to collect the penalty imposed on Jayalalitha. Because of this, some people argue that Jayalalitha is not convicted and hence her portrait can be used in government offices. What the judgment says and what is the legal status is being explained hereunder by Justice K. Chandru, retired from Madras High Court. If any criminal case, the court can follow only the Criminal Procedure Code 1973. According to Section 394, when the convict is deceased during the pendency of the appeal, that case will be dismissed. If the person has been punished by the lower court, then the close relatives of the deceased only can proceed further in the case. This is in order to protect the dignity of the deceased. Our reply. According to Section 394, when the accused is deceased, not convict is deceased. In this Jayalalitha case, the lower court refers the Karnataka High Court. Mr. Chandru. Jayalalitha was relieved by the Karnataka High Court during the time of appealing, though convicted by the special court. Since she expired before the judgment, the appeal filed by Karnataka High Court is dismissed, but the remaining 3 alive persons were penalized. Our reply. As Jayalalitha released by the Bengaluru High Court and dies during the pendency of the appeal, we need not mention she had been convicted by the special court. Mr. Chandru. Case may be filed on any public servant under the Prevention of Corruption Act 1988. As Jayalalitha was the Chief Minister, she was considered as a public servant and hence the case was filed. The other convicts, Sasikala, Elavarasi and Sudhakaran, in collusion with Jayalalitha, have committed the crime. It cannot relieve Jayalalitha, the prime accused. Our doubt. Respected sir, at this time we have to raise a doubt. Let us see another case. Happened in the same time. Late Nadarajan Avargal, while he alive, earned tax payment for the purchase of a luxurious car imported. A customs officer, public servant, was said to have been in collusion with him. The higher authority of the concerned customs officer has to give permission of inclusion as per law. The higher authority of the customs did not give necessary permission. So the customs officer, public servant, was not included in the case. It was argued that without enquiry of the customs officer, public servant, that no case will be filed and the persons concerned should not be considered as convict or even accused. The learned judge proclaimed that he did not say anything about the customs officer, public servant, as the law does not permit him. Mr. Nadarajan was considered as convict and he was found guilty and punished. To punish the other 3 persons, the Supreme Court told that the charges framed against Jayalalitha were proved. It is peculiar situation. Even though the charges against her were proved, she was not alive for punishment. Therefore, she was relieved from this case. Our reply. It is not peculiar situation. It is one-sided argument. Jayalalitha expired during the pendency of the Supreme Court appeal. While she was alive, she was acquitted in this case by the Bengaluru High Court. The Honorable Supreme Court did not grant any stay on the petition of Karnataka state government. In these circumstances, the other accused can be punished as they did not furnish the means of the assets owned by them and stand on in their names, as in the case mentioned in the Amarar Nadarajan's imported tax evasion. When Jayalalitha was alive, other accused gave statement that there was no connection with Jayalalitha for the properties that stand on their names. At this stage, we have to mention the Code of Criminal Procedure 1973. Section 394, Abatement of Appeals. Every appeal under Section 377 or Section 378 shall finally abate on the death of the accused. 2. Every other appeal under the chapter, except an appeal from a sentence of fine, shall finally abate on the death of the appellant, provided that where the appeal is against a conviction and sentence of death, of imprisonment, and the appellant dies during the pendency of the appeal, any of his near relatives may, within 30 days of the death of the appellant, apply to the appellate court for leave to continue the appeal, and if leave is granted, the appeal shall not abate. Explanation. In this section, near relative means a parent, spouse, lineal descendant, brother or sister. If we study the above law carefully, that we can come to the conclusion that nobody can say that Jayalalitha, who died during the pendency of the Supreme Court appeal, who has been released by the High Court, and who not in a position to submit revision petition, Jayalalitha's charges are proved. Nobody can say. The Karnataka High Court prayed for collecting the penalty from her assets, but the Supreme Court told that the penalty can be levied only on persons who are alive and hence cancelled the same. At this stage, we beg to differ with Mr. Chandru. I think this is a wrong interruption. Sir, if Honorable Justice M. Kumarasamy of Bengaluru High Court has fined Jayalalitha, had the fine been not recorded on the death of Jayalalitha? Though she has been relieved from the case, the Supreme Court does not say she is innocent. Our reply, Sir, Karnataka High Court declared that Jayalalitha is innocent. The Supreme Court cannot say that Jayalalitha is convicted. Then Jayalalitha is innocent. Note, during the pendency of appeal in Supreme Court, Jayalalitha not even accused, not convicted. She had been already released by Karnataka High Court and stay was not granted by the Supreme Court. The weekly magazine Ananda Vidan, in its editorial 21/2/2018, criticized the case of Jayalalitha. A suitable reply has been given to the editorial, and it is enclosed with this case study for clear understanding of Jayalalitha case. The Assembly is to respect the law. 1. There are disputes about the opening of the portrait of the then Chief Minister and late Jayalalitha. A question is raised among the people, public, whether is it correct? Our reply, this question was not raised by the people who elected her as Chief Minister even after D. Gunha's judgment. She was not dealt with through democratic concept. On the other hand, the Act 1988, Prevention of Irregularity Act, was imposed on her. The question was not raised by the people who elected her as Chief Minister even after judgment. 2. Vigadan. There is no difference of opinion that among the politicians, Jayalalitha was bold enough and support in large by the people. Even the opposition parties, those criticized Jayalalitha, accept the boldness and her control over the party and appreciated her. She was elected 4 times as the chief minister. In Indian history, as first time who involved in irregularities while she was in power. She was imprisoned and even after death she was proclaimed as convict by the Honorable Supreme Court of India. We cannot forget this. She was not sentenced only for the reason that she was dead. It is proved that she was the accused liable for punishment according to the law proceedings. Our question and information. Sir, for your kind information, if Jayalalitha was proclaimed as convict by the Honorable Supreme Court of India, why Mr. Acharya, in Karnataka government's second review petition, requested the Supreme Court it should be announced that she was convict? Again, that petition has been dismissed by the Supreme Court on 29th September 2018. There are suits, cases filed against the planning of the provision of Jayalalitha's ghat in Marina seashore in government expense, opening of Jayalalitha's house as memorial illam and placement of Jayalalitha's portraits in government offices. These cases are under trial. Then what is the necessity to open the portrait in the assembly with hurry? There are suits, cases filed against the planning of the provision of Jayalalitha's ghat in Marina seashore. Our reply. On a particular day, the above suits, cases are withdrawn by the people who filed the case. The reason known to you better than the research. Our reply, paragraph 2. As the first time she was considered as first accused by the lower trial court, whereas on appeal in the High Court, she was not convicted. Why you have forgotten this? Further, the appeal petition for stay was not allowed by the Honorable Supreme Court. Jayalalitha again contested in Radhakrishna Nagar by-election and became the post of MLA and then occupied the CM chair. She again contested in general election, succeeded as MLA and became as CM. Even after her death, she was confirmed as first as irregularity accused. This is by Vigadan. Our reply. As we have already mentioned, if Jayalalitha was proclaimed as irregularity convict by the Honorable Supreme Court of India, why Mr. Acharya in his second review petition requested the Supreme Court it should be announced that she was convict? That petition has been dismissed by the Supreme Court on 29th September 2018. She was released by the High Court as innocent. At this stage, she was not determined as punishable accused. The stay requested by Karnataka government was rejected. As an innocent, she contested for MLA seat and came to power for 2 periods. When the case was pending disposal in the Supreme Court, she was dead. At the stage, what is law's opinion? Code of Criminal Procedure 1973, Section 394, Abatement of Appeal. Every appeal under Section 377 and 378 shall finally abate on the death of the accused. At this stage, Jayalalitha was not even an accused. The Honorable High Court of Karnataka released her as innocent. The appeal filed by the Karnataka government in the Supreme Court for stay was not also admitted. The Karnataka government case against Jayalalitha stood abated with her death. Please see the miracle in this place. Either angry with closed eyes or unbelievable words of persons or unknown anger feeling, judgment should not be go to the low level. That is why the law was passed like this by the learned law people like Annal Ambedkar carefully. CCP 394. Please see how the law protects those who could not file review petitions. At this juncture, I want to mention a point of former Chief Justice of the Supreme Court, Mr. Deepak Mishra. He has rightly said that our Indian judicial system and laws are appreciated by legal people of the world. Vigadan. She was not sentenced on the ground she was demised. Our reply, person dead. If Jayalalitha was convicted by the High Court or the stay granted by the Supreme Court against the judgment against Jayalalitha as innocent, the words written by you have life. But it does not happen. As such, your words are dead. Ananda Vigadan. Number 5. The Karnataka government never respect, we charge, that the Kaveri Dispute Commission and the Honorable Court's judgment. However, we used to open the portrait of Jayalalitha, who was punished by the Supreme Court as first accused. Is it decent to open the portrait of Jayalalitha in the Legislative Assembly? Our reply, your concept has gone below to this level about the comparison of Kaveri issue and Jayalalitha matter. Number 6. Vigadan. The ruling party may debate that there is no law in the country to open the portrait of a person who was punished as criminal by the court. Our reply, Mr. Vigadan, you have injected poison needle in the banana fruit. These words are above the jackalism. Nobody has criticized this and there is no need for it. Jayalalitha was not a convict as per law. You can perfectly know this fact. You and the like-minded may say this. Even it can be believed by the educated. But innocent poor people do not give weight to these unreliable words. Ananda Vigadan. It is easy to escape by pointing out the loopholes of law, but the morality and conscience are the best approach in the democracy and the democratic base. The portrait of a person who was punished by law as criminal has been framed and put up in the complex of the Legislative Assembly by the ruling government. Then what will be the law offence? You please refer the previous paragraph. We have learned as per law. Let us see by sacred law or logic. Junior Vigadan was able to write as Jayalalitha's disproportionate of property case. But now it has changed its tone. It has specifically narrated that Poets Garden, Veda Illam and Hyderabad Great Garden are alone in the name of Jayalalitha. There is no other properties in her name. Even Jayalalitha was alive, she cannot claim title over the properties. Juvi 18/6/2017. Jayalalitha has shown only these two properties plus jewels as her own in the election nomination filed in Radhakrishnan Nagar election. That the past may be the past. You may not try hereafter to dig the ditch of the dead body of Lake Jayalalitha. Please divert your personal attention towards rupees 9,000 crores swallowed who have escaped to London and live luxurious life, pave path to transport him to India for judicial inquiry. Please oblige in the interest of Indian nation. Information under Act 22 or 2005 wise our case study. This information to get the Central Act 22/2005 is really a boon to the citizen of India. Myself requested information from the Karnataka officers for only one question. While Jayalalitha's case was under trial in Bengaluru, the then Advocate General Mr. Ravivarma Kumar is said to have been written a letter to Mrs. Sonia Gandhi about this case and explained about the law minister concerned. The so-called information were published in the weekly magazine Nakiran. I requested information about the letter under issue, whether the informations were right or wrong. Mr. Ravi Kumar would have been given reply to my question. My first letter was to him. My letter would have been forwarded to him and his reply can be obtained. But they did not do so. I have got good reason to believe that if true reply was received, the reply will create some trouble to them. They have very diplomatically prevented the reply. Our case study wise information under Act 22 2005 continued. A very important information was requested from the Karnataka government from Mr. Ravi Verma Kumar, then Advocate General, under the Central Act 22 2005, Right to Information. The correspondence to the Karnataka state government has been here explained in detail. 31/3/2017, Nakiran Tamil Weekly, which is very famous among 10 lakhs of readers, published a letter. The letter said to have been written by Mr. Ravi Kumar Avargal, Advocate General, Bengaluru High Court, to Sonia Gandhi. I requested Mr. Ravi Kumar to comply with the written reply for Truth in Edition, 13/3/2017. For this, I received on 17/4/2017 from Administrative Officer and State Public Information Officer, Mr. Guru Siddhaya. Administrative Officer rejected my request both on technical grounds and on merits instead of forwarding my application to Mr. Ravi Verma Kumar, the concerned person, and direct me to file an appeal before the learned Advocate General. 22/5/2017. In my appeal to the Advocate General, I requested him to furnish information whether the so-called letter said to be written to the Congress party leader, Madam Mrs. Sonia Gandhi, by Mr. Ravi Kumar is true or not true. In his reply dated 16/6/2017, the Officer of Advocate General does not have any record to specifically say anything about the authenticity or otherwise of the letter purported to have been written by Mr. Ravi Verma Kumar, and is unable to vouch about the genuineness or otherwise of the letter. 19/7/2017. In my request for reconsideration, I requested the Honorable Advocate General to address Mr. Ravi Verma Kumar and ascertain whether he has written such a letter or not, whether the letter published in Nakiran Tamil Weekly is true or false. 27/7/2017. In the reply, again the Administrative Officer and State Information Officer, Mr. Guru Siddhaya, has reached the finality as far as the office is concerned. 25/4/2018. I requested the Chief Secretary Karnataka Government to address Mr. Ravi Verma Kumar and ascertain whether Ravi Verma Kumar has written such a letter or not, that is, true or not true. 18/5/2018. In the reply, the Honorable Chief Secretary directed me to contact the Law Department. 21/5/2018. As directed by the Chief Secretary, I approached Private Secretary to Principal Secretary, Law Department, Vidhan Sauda, Bengaluru, for the same purpose, but in vain. Purpose not served. The letter correspondence as follows. The letter from the researcher to Mr. Ravi Verma Kumar Avargal, Honorable Advocate General of Karnataka Government, Bengaluru High Court, Bengaluru. From the researcher to Mr. Ravi Kumar Avargal, Advocate General, Bengaluru High Court, Karnataka State. Subject: information, right to get information, truth in edition requested. Reference 1, Constitution of India. Number 2, Nakiran Tamil Weekly, Volume 27, number 100, 2015, April 1/3, page number 7. Sir, I am a senior citizen of India. I am fully interested in justice. I want the information for my study, Jayalda's case, a case study. The reference second cited published a letter. The letter indicates as follows and is translated in English within inverted commas. The letter said to have been written by you to Mrs. Sonia Gandhi. The letter continues as follows. The judge, Justice Mr. Kumarasamy, who was attending to the conduct of the appeal case, asked why no room has been provided to Mr. Bhavani Singh. I replied that I just know now only that Mr. Bhavani Singh is the government pleader in the High Court. Bhavani Singh told that it has been reported to Karnataka government about this. I replied, it is a lie. Yet, as per the orders of the judge, room was provided to Mr. Bhavani Singh. During this period, the advocate of DMK party contacted me and represented that Mr. Bhavani Singh was appointed by the Anti-Corruption Department, which operates as per the directions of the ADMK government of Jayalalitha, and then they filed a petition that the government leader of the High Court of Karnataka state should be appointed by the Karnataka state government, and that High Court chief judge should approve the appointment. Their representation was according to law. I then forwarded the petition to the law minister, Mr. Jayachandra. When the petition of DMK party came before Honorable Mr. Paira Reddy in the High Court, I pointed out the same. He ordered to move to Supreme Court. Again, I reported to the law minister that Mr. Bhavani Singh was not appointed by Karnataka government and represented to remove him. He did not care for it. Now, in Supreme Court, Logur bench said that the Karnataka High Court, as soon as Paira Reddy ordered about Bhavani Singh appointment, the state government should obtain the Supreme Court directions. The case should be disposed of yearly, government pleaders' postings to be extended. The judge who attended the disproportionate of asset case, what he can do, the condemnation of Supreme Court on Karnataka government is because of Law Minister Mr. Jayachandra. This letter, as written by Advocate General Mr. Ravi Verma Kumar to Mrs. Sonia Gandhi. The Nakiran Tamil Weekly, which is very famous among 10 lakhs of readers, was very firmly brought your letter to light as above narrated. Please comply with your written reply as early as possible and oblige on the Nakiran's issue. ₹10 only court fee stamp fixed. Date 17/4/2017. Reply from Administrative Officer and State Public Information Officer Mr. Kuru Siddhaya. Sir, reference your letter dated 31/3/2017. You have addressed a letter to Sri Ravi Verma Kumar, the Advocate General. However, as the undersigned has been designated as the State Public Information Officer, your letter has been referred to me. I have carefully considered your letter. In your letter, there is no specific indication as to whether you are seeking information under the Right to Information Act 2005. You have not referred the relevant provision of the Right to Information Act 2005. Even if it is assumed that you are seeking information under the Right to Information Act, you have not paid the fee of ₹10 in the form of Indian Postal Order or DD or pay order drawn in favor of the State Public Information Officer, as stipulated under Rule 4 of the Karnataka Right to Information Rules 2005. You have affixed 2 court fees stamps of ₹10, each along with your letter. As the required fee as prescribed under Rule 4/4 of the rules has not been paid by you, your application is liable to be rejected. In your letter, you have referred to a publication made in the Tamil Weekly Nakiran. You have stated that Sri Ravi Verma Kumar, the then learned Advocate General, had sent a letter to Mrs. Sonia Gandhi. The request made in your letter is as follows. Please comply with your written reply as early as possible and oblige on the Nakiran's issue. The request made in your letter is very vague and ambiguous. You have failed to make a specific prayer. It is not possible to comprehend as to what actually is in your request. Thus, this office is unable to offer any reply in respect of your letter. In view of the aforesaid reasons, the request made by you is rejected both on technical grounds and on merits. If you are aggrieved by the order passed by me in rejecting your application, you may file an appeal before the learned Advocate General for Karnataka High Court, Buildings, Bengaluru 1, within 30 days from the date of receipt of this communication. Date 22/5/2017. Letter from the researcher to the Honorable Advocate General of Karnataka Government, Bengaluru High Court, Bengaluru. From the researcher to the Advocate General, Karnataka High Court Building, Bengaluru 1. Sir, subject. Appeal on the directions of the AG of the Karnataka State Public Information Officer. Final information requested. Reference. Letter number 79 AG SPIO 2016-17. I enclose a copy of the letter cited above with its enclosure. I, being a law-abiding citizen of India, wanted information under Act 22/2005 about the message imparted in Tamil weekly Nakiran. The request is common and very simple. The reply may contain the words yes or no. I have inadvertently affixed cover label for ₹10. I have since obtained a postal order for ₹10 in favor of the State Public Information Officer and enclosed. I am being a retired professor, may have the anxiety to know the information illustrated in Nakiran Tamil Weekly. There is no harm in it. The learned appellant authority may fully aware of my position. I don't want to probe further in this. I again give full report about the message letter published in the Nakiran. The Tamil Weekly Volume 27 number 100 2015, April 1-3, page number 7, the matter enclosed. The Nakiran published a letter said to have been written by Mr. Ravivarma Kumar, then Advocate General, to Madam Mrs. Sonia Gandhi, Congress President. The letter continues as follows. The Judge Justice Mr. Kumarasamy, who was attending to the conduct of the appeal case, asked why no room has been provided to Mr. Bhavani Singh. I replied that I just know now only that Mr. Bhavani Singh is the government pleader in the High Court. Mr. Bhavani Singh told that it has been reported to the Karnataka government about this. I replied it is lie. Yet, as per the orders of the judge, room was provided to Mr. Bhavani Singh. During this period, the advocates of DMK party contacted me and represented that Mr. Bhavani Singh was appointed by the Anti-Corruption Department, which operates as per the directions of the AIADMK government of Jayalalitha, and then they filed a petition that government pleader of the High Court of Karnataka State should be appointed by the Karnataka State government, and the High Court Chief Judge should approve the appointment. Their representation was according to law. I then forwarded the petition to the Law Minister, Mr. Jayachandra. When the petition of DMK party came before Honorable Mr. Paira Reddy in the High Court, I pointed out the same. He ordered to move to Supreme Court. I reported to the Law Minister that Mr. Bhavani Singh was not appointed by Karnataka government and represented to remove him. He did not care for it. Now in Supreme Court, Logur bench said that Karnataka High Court, as soon as Paira Reddy ordered about Mr. Bhavani Singh's appointment, the state government should obtain Supreme Court directions. The case should be disposed of yearly. Government pleaders' postings to be extended. The judge who attended the disproportion of assets case, what he can do? The condemnation of Supreme Court on Karnataka government is because of Law Minister Mr. Jayachandra, as written by Advocate General Mr. Ravivarma Kumar to Mrs. Sonia Gandhi, published in Nakiran. I request to admit my appeal and furnish information whether the so-called letter written to the Congress party leader, Madam Mrs. Sonia Gandhi, by Mr. Ravivarma Kumar is yes or no, or true or not true. There ends the matter. Please kindly furnish information as requested and oblige. Thanks in advance. Yours faithfully. Date 16/6/2017. Reply from Honorable Advocate General of Karnataka Government, Bengaluru High Court, Bengaluru. 2. The researcher. The contents of the letter. The appellant had sent an application under the Right to Information Act 2005 to the respondent herein on 13/3/2017 seeking certain information. In the said application, which was addressed to Mr. Ravi Verma Kumar, former Advocate General, the applicant had stated that Professor Ravi Verma Kumar is said to have written a letter to Mrs. Sonia Gandhi and that said letter was also published in Nakiran, Tamil Weekly. The appellant has enclosed a document claiming to be English translation of the letter. The subject matter of the said letter, it is claimed pertain to Srimati Jayalalitha's case. 2. By order number 79 AG SRIO 2016-17, the respondent administrative officer, Advocate General's office had rejected the application, holding that the prayer made the application is vague and ambiguous. 3. In the appeal, the appellant has repeated and requested again to furnish the information as to whether the letter in question was indeed written by Professor Ravi Verma Kumar, then Lord Advocate General. 4. At this juncture, it is not required to go into the details of the letter in question. Number 5. I have looked into and considered the application seeking information filed by the appellant. The order passed by the respondent on 24/2017 and also the amendments made in the present appeal made under Section 19 of the Right to Information Act. 6. The Office of Advocate General does not have any record to specifically say anything about the authenticity or otherwise of the letter purported to have been written by Professor Ravi Verma Kumar, the then learned Advocate General for Karnataka, to Srimati Sonia Gandhi. 7. As there are no entries in the office of the Advocate General in respect of the letter alleged to have been written by Professor Ravi Verma Kumar, the then learned Advocate General, the Office of Advocate General is unable to vouch about the genuineness or otherwise of that letter, and hence order sent by administrative officer respondent here is in order. In the background of what is stated above, the appeal filed by the appellant is hereby rejected. Signed by Advocate General. Date 19/7/2017. A request for reconsideration from the researcher to the Honorable Advocate General of Karnataka Government, Bengaluru High Court, Bengaluru. On 31/3/2017, I addressed Sri Ravi Verma Kumar, Advocate General, High Court Building of Bengaluru, and requested information under Right to Information Act 2005 about a very important information. In response to my letter, the State Public Information Officer, in his letter dated 17/4/2017, informed me that Ravi Verma Kumar is former Advocate General and now my application has been referred to him. In his letter, the Public Information Officer has pointed out the following. 1. It is wrong to affix CF label for ₹10. Number 2. He rejected my petition on the ground that the information sought for not clear. Yet he advised me, if deemed fit, I may approach you to seek remedy. 1. According to his direction, I got a postal order for ₹10 on 31/3/2017. I applied for information in detail in reply dated 16/6/2017. In your letter, you have raised doubts as follows. 1. I have enclosed a document claiming it to be English translation of the letter. This version is not complete. I have not only enclosed the English translation of the letter, a Xerox copy of the letter published in Tamil in Nakiran Weekly on the date was also attached along with the letter. I again enclosed the entire documents for pursual and necessary further probe. The Xerox copy is pertaining to the letter written to Madam Sonia Gandhi by Ravi Verma Kumar. Number 2. You have mentioned Jayalalitha as Srimati. There is difference between Srimati and Selvi. Jayalalitha born in Mysore educated at Bangalore. She was a famous film actress. She was elected by the political party, vice AADMK, as General Secretary. She was Chief Minister of Tamil Nadu state for 4 periods. Even at her last, she was the undoubted Chief Minister of Tamil Nadu. The highest national respect, namely the military honor, homage was provided to her on the day of funeral. The lady was till then Selvi, unmarried. I humbly request you to please therefore note this important point. She is Selvi, not Srimati. Number 3. My prayer for the supply of information is very simple. It is as to whether the letter in question was indeed written by Mr. Professor Ravivarma Kumar when he was in the honorable post, the then Advocate General. In reply, you have mentioned as follows. The office of the Advocate General does not have any record to specifically say anything about the authenticity or otherwise of the letter, purported to have been written by Professor Ravivarma Kumar, the then learned Advocate General for Karnataka, to Madam Sonia Gandhi. As there are no entries in the office of the Advocate General in respect of the letter alleged to have been written by Professor Ravivarma Kumar, and hence order sent by the administrator officer is in order. This is a shock to persons who are struggling for justice. You have stated as follows. As there are no entries in the office of the Advocate General in respect of the letter alleged to have been written by Professor Mr. Ravivarma Kumar, the Secretary of Private Dealings will never brought under the office record. It is a wide known fact. The letter may be more or less private. The letter has been leaked to press, that it become a public importance. There is no harm to address him and ascertain whether he has written such a letter or not, whether the letter published in Nakiran Tamil Weekly is true or false. His reply can alone prove the doubt. This can be easily done. It seems to common sense that you, the higher officials, does not try or wish to trace out the truth. The very right of Information Act 2005 is in people public interest. Sir, the letter said to be written by Professor Ravivarma Kumar. That honorable person is in the place of very highest post of Karnataka. Said to be write a letter to a leading political party president, Indian National Congress, Mrs. Sonia Gandhi, who is also a world famous personality, about the case of Selvi Jayalalitha, who is also a very famous person and her heroism is world known. Let illicit sandalwood cutter and transporter Veerappan was known to anybody. He was a searched criminal. He was a robber, dacoit, terrorist. He killed more than 200 Karnataka police officers through unearthed time bomb. He snatched the head of a higher Karnataka police officer, pierced his head in an iron pole and hoisted the same in Karnataka state boundary. Mr. Rajkumar, a film cine actor, is very famous among Karnataka people. Veerappan took him to his custody in the jungle and treated him as a prisoner. That so-called notorious Veerappan was shot dead under the diplomatic and clear order of the Chief Minister Selvi Jayalalitha and made the Scotland Yard police to raise their eyebrows. And their case is very important and critical. There may be strong expectation by the public. Professor Ravivarma Kumar was bold enough, said to be send a letter to Mrs. Sonia Gandhi. That too, accusing the Karnataka State Law Minister. Is this letter is not worthy? Sir, please go through my letter with a broad view and find the truth in this matter. Please reconsider my request and your faith is reasonable. Nakiran is also not an ordinary weekly. It is famous among lakhs of Tamil readers. The so-called letter may not have any official nature, but it bear very important among people and law. My letter is intended to Mr. Ravivarma Kumar about the case of a very important administrator. Respected sir, I am in the evening of my life struggle for good. The entire history pertaining to the unadopted lady ruler late Selvi Jayalalitha will be visualized through modern media such as YouTube, etc. Please therefore look into my request very firmly and send your reply early and oblige. Respected sir, if you do not feel to furnish reply and want to put an end to my prayer, please furnish details of office to which I can move for remedy. Reply for this letter. Date 27/7/2017 from the Administration Officer and State Information Officer, Office of the Advocate General, Bengaluru High Court, Bengaluru. Addressed to the researcher. Reference, your letter dated 19/7/2017. The office is in receipt of your letter dated 19/7/2017. As you are aware, the appeal filed by you has already been rejected by the learned Advocate General on 16/6/2017. Thus, the matter has reached finality as far as this office is concerned. I have been directed by the learned Advocate General to inform you that the office has no information to share with you in respect of the subject matter. The Office of the Advocate General is not in a position to give any advice as to the future course of action that may be taken by you. 25/4/2018. I requested the Chief Secretary Karnataka Government to address Mr. Ravi Verma Kumar and ascertain whether Ravi Verma Kumar has written such a letter or not, that is, true or not true. 18/5/2018. In the reply, the Honorable Chief Secretary directed me to contact the Law Department. 21/5/2018. As directed by the Chief Secretary, I approached Private Secretary to Principal Secretary, Law Department, Vidhan Sauda, Bengaluru for the same purpose, but in vain. Purpose not served. The letter correspondence as follows. Our case study and the Honorable Home Minister, Government of India. This case study explained to the respected Home Minister of India that Karnataka state government interfered with the judicial proceedings. Details as follows. Letter to the Honorable Home Minister, Government of India, New Delhi. Administration, Karnataka State. Interference by the government into the court proceedings. Remedy solicited. Reference, Constitution of India. 2. Supreme Court bench findings and judgment. 3. Other connected records. Most honored Home Minister, sir, I place an important request to the most honorable Home Minister. In the submission to the respected Home Minister, political decorum and protocol are very cautiously handled. Even if there is any defect noticed, I plead for forgiveness. In my submission, I do not comment and criticize anything about the judgment and honorable judges. It is confirmed. If this grave offence was reported when the case was under trial, which mentioned in this appeal, it would have been decided as sub judice and contempt of court. It has since been brought to your kind notice now. Almost all court proceedings were concluded and judgment was pronounced, sir. During the year 2013, when Jayalalitha's case in connection with property was under trial in the lower court of Bengaluru and Karnataka government was under rule of power of Congress party, Mr. Sitharamaiah was the chief minister. Congress government, while the case was under trial, entered into this with an unlawful rare attempt and prevented the proceedings of the court. The Honorable Court was inactive. The reason for the inactiveness of the center was the Central United Front Congress Party and the affiliated DMK party colluded joint conspiracy. This case was filed by Mr. K. Anbadakan, General Secretary of DMK party, when Mr. Karunanidhi was the Chief Minister of Tamil Nadu State Government. In Bengaluru Lower Trial Court, Justice Mr. Balakrishna was the judge and Mr. G. Bhavani Singh was the special public prosecutor. Court proceedings were going on smoothly. In the meanwhile, the government of Karnataka, without report to acting Chief Justice, all of a sudden unlawfully removed Mr. G. Bhavani Singh from his post. Jayalalitha felt that there would be an aim of the petition party DMK and its joined Central Congress government for the sudden unlawful removal of the SPP Mr. Bhavani Singh. She objected the removal and sought for remedy through Supreme Court. In this regard, Supreme Court bench consists of Honorable Justice B.S. Chauhan and Honorable Justice S.A. Bobde, after careful study, quashed the order of removing Bhavani Singh by the government of Karnataka. The bench delivered verdict on 30/9/2013. The verdict enclosed herewith. Findings of the Supreme Court bench. 1. The order of the government of Karnataka removing Honorable Bhavani Singh reveals malified exercise of power by the Karnataka state government. 2. The order of the government of Karnataka removing Honorable Bhavani Singh is politically motivated. 3. Exercise of power vitiated. Number 4. The Karnataka government's order removing Honorable Bhavani Singh is an act of clear unwarranted. 5. Fair trial is the main object of criminal procedure. Such fairness should not be hampered or threatened in any manner. The Karnataka government's order does not follow the principles. Number 6. Honorable Bhavani's removal order is an unusual. 7. It was duty bound to refer the name to the acting Chief Justice, but the government did not do so. 8. Government's grievance is baseless. 9. Nothing on record to indicate that the government of Karnataka had been forced by anyone to make the said appointment. 10. The government thus voluntarily acquiesced in this process. The grievance of the Karnataka government is baseless. Respected sir, if these findings are analyzed carefully, then the respected sir may know the true hypothesis, namely, the Karnataka government interfered in this case. The order of the removal of Honorable G. Bhavani Singh, Karnataka government has unlawfully interfered in the trial. It is clear that the government of Karnataka state have kept the court under its control. This is grave offence. The citizens of India firmly believe that the courts alone final goal, last resort of their own distress and difficulties. People believe should never be buried at any cost and at any manner. The Honorable Home Minister is the first administrator of the nation. All the government orders carry the final approval of the Honorable Home Minister. The safety and prosperity of the nation is based on good administration of able Home Minister. Interference of state government with the judicial court activities is grave offence. The Karnataka government had done this without any fear in the year 2013. As I have already mentioned, if this grave offence was reported when the case was under trial, it would have been decided as sub judice and contempt of court. It has since been brought to your kind notice now. The Karnataka government's main aim is to stop the court proceedings till the date of the retirement of then Judge Honorable Balakrishna, so as to enable them to have a new judge, and they succeeded in their unlawful attempt. The hope on the Home Minister, I humbly request you to order for CBI inquiry, as this is an important matter, sir. Please oblige. The Home Minister honored my letter and sent a reply, and that reply is as follows. A letter from the Home Minister. I am directed to forward AVD2 section Department of Personnel and Training's OM number 270-113-2017 AVD2 dated 19/5/2017 enclosing here with a letter dated 21/2/2017 received from Sri V. Balasubramaniam regarding complaint against administration of Karnataka regarding interference in the court proceedings for action as deemed appropriate. Then the copy of the letter with the matter to the researcher. Copy for information to Sri Balasubramanian, Professor HOD of Economics, to make further correspondence in the matter with the state government of Karnataka. The researcher wrote so many letters to the Karnataka Chief Secretary, but in vain. We, the poor people, firmly believe that the courts are the last resort of the people. The Honorable Court is the self-empowered individual institution. Nobody can interfere in the court's proceedings and order the court. If anybody interfere in court proceedings, it will be a great blunder and contempt of the court. But the officers of Karnataka do not think so. The letter which was sent to me by the Honorable Home Minister of India was placed as base on my request to the Chief Officer of Karnataka State Government. There is no reply so far. It is therefore clear from their movements that they do not care even to the minimum that the interference in the court proceedings is a great blunder and contempt of the court. Before the conclusion of this thesis, we have to mention something about Jayalalitha. Jayalalitha contested in 39 seats and got won on 37 seats in a single symbol in the parliament election. This is a historical achievement. Among her services, 3 important items have to be mentioned here. Without interfering into the religion, caste and such inner aspects, she looked all as same. She treated all people as the colors of the rainbow. Number 2, her noble thought as in the case of Anna Teresa. The hand baby is crying for food, for milk. Mother is expected to feed the child. She has to remove slightly her upper cloth among the males around her. Her position will definitely be for hesitation. To avoid this unhappiness, Jayalalitha ordered provision of a safety room in all public places, such as bus stand and other state government offices. This noble thought is compared to the noble thought of Anna Teresa. The world should follow this through the ENO. Is it not a blessing to all disturbed baby-carrying ladies in their hands? Number 3, Jayalalitha was so bold. She can be compared with Vallabhbhai Patel for her boldness. Her bravery is notable. Sandalwood cutter, illicit transformer Veerappan killed 200 Karnataka policemen in underground bomb blast and murdered their wives, widows with white saris. Karnataka higher police officer's head was cut off and he was murdered. The police officer's head was put on a pole and exhibited to people near the border of the Karnataka. The very famous Karnataka film actor, Mr. Rajkumar, was kidnapped by Veerappan. Rajkumar was treated unmankindly. Veerappan was interviewed and the interview was telecasted through TV by a big political party. This dacoit Veerappan was shot dead by Tamil Nadu police under the intelligent views of the bold lady Jayalalitha. It is a question before us. It is my duty to mention about case happened during the same period. Spectrum case. Mr. Raja, the then central minister, were considered as accused and charge-sheeted in this case. The Indian Express newspaper and the Junior Vigadan magazine explained this case with some proof. Especially the Junior Vigadan, with certain proof, published a book under the title heading Sollunga Rajave. The Honorable Judge, while proclaiming the judgment, mentioned that it was awaited for 1 year for proof from the officers concerned and the same was not presented. Due to non-production of the records of proof, this person released from this case. The learned advocates and the media, those who agitated for appeal in Jayalalitha's case, are now keeping mum. The reasons for their present movements are not known. We have to mention the last days of Jayalalitha in this thesis. The birth of the then CM Jayalalitha came to an end. Her body was taken in the funeral procession. The event is to be carved in golden letters in the history. Taj Mahal, a building raised in the tomb of Mumtaz, yet it is prized as one of the world wonders. Jayalalitha's funeral procession is also comparable. This is the event of sadness, yet it is historical event. The plane in which the Honorable President of India, Mr. Pranab Mukherjee, was started to Chennai was found repair. The President then returned to New Delhi. Arrangements were made and the President again returned to Madras and placed his homage to Jayalalitha. The respected Prime Minister Mr. Narendra Modi, formerly Governor of Tamil Nadu, formerly PM of India, CM of States, formerly Chief Judges of Supreme Court and now Governor of Kerala State, and lakhs of people attended the funeral procession. Congress important presidents Rahul Gandhi also attended the funeral. Aeroplanes could not enter into the aerodrome due to scarcity of runways. Just we should think for the reason for all these happenings. This is beyond imagination. Crore of people appeared with tears in their eyes. They are only her family. Jayalalitha lived for people, those who loved her. People loved her. Finally, the Supreme Court delivered its verdict. The court concluded as regards Jayalalitha as follows. The case against Jayalalitha stood abated with her death. This verdict is on the basis of the Code of Criminal Procedure 1973-394. The word abated has to be altered or modified. This is from a petition by the Karnataka court and filed by Advocate Aristotle, but it has been dismissed by the Supreme Court. Again, the latest report is, that is, on 29th September 2018. Karnataka government's second review petition submitted by Mr. Acharya requested the Supreme Court and declared that Jayalalitha a convict. His second review petition dismissed by the Honorable Supreme Court. Thus, with this, we wish to conclude former Chief Justice of the Supreme Court, Mr. Deepak Mishra. He has rightly said that our Indian judicial system and laws are appreciated by legal people of the world. Justice never fails.